Welcome in to another Running with the Timberwolves podcast on the Believe Sports Network. My name is Gabe Anderson, and I'm joined, as always, by Chris Emerson. Chris, how we doing?
Man, can't wait. Let's kick this season off today if we could.
Yeah, we are kicking it off on Monday. So tomorrow, if you're listening on a Tuesday, or if you're listening on Monday nights, it is 2 days from now. The NBA season gets going on a Tuesday. And honestly, before we get going, Chris, I honestly can't believe it's here. Like, it feels like yesterday that we had Game 7 of the NBA Finals, and now we went through Summer League, we had the draft, all of that stuff, and now we are knocking on the doorstep of a new season.
I can't wait. I mean, we didn't do a lot of like monumental, earth-shattering moves, but there's enough tweaks and stuff to make me excited, and just the overall growth, continuity. Like, I just can't wait for it to start. I mean, back-to-back Western Conference Finals too. Amazing.
And pretty much the same team coming back. We'll talk about that in a second. But before we get going, make sure to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. Give us a 5-star rating on Spotify and or Apple. And hey guys, just wanted to pop in and say that we are excited to be working with 612 Tees again this season. 612 Tees is an awesome local company that makes comfortable and affordable unique tees for you to wear on game day or any day to support your favorite Minnesota teams. Check out these elite Wolves tees like the Minnesota Ice tee with Ant-Man about to posterize a poor defender. Or maybe you're looking for a big jelly shirt like this classic Nas Jaws tee. Or maybe you want to sport the future with this fresh-looking Rob Dillingham tee. Vikings fan? Well, 612 Tees got you covered with Justin Jefferson tees, Harrison Smith tees, and even the super freak Randy Moss on your chest. There is something perfect for you on the brand new website 612tees.com, and at checkout use our promo code RUN25 to get 25% off your first order, or use the link in the description and the discount will be automatically applied at checkout. What I love about 612 Tees is they're always innovating. Cole over at 612 Tees is always coming up with new ideas, new shirts, and I guarantee that you'll find one that you'll love at 612tees.com. It's the #1 way that you can support the channel. So check out 612tees.com. Absolutely. Like you mentioned, check out 612tees.com. Use promo code RUN25 to get 25% off your first order. And it's the best way you can help out the channel. And you can use the link in the description as well. And Chris, as you know, Cole over there, he's just got a new website and he makes some pretty cool tees.
Yeah, he's like, if you scroll back through there every week, there'll be new stuff. Like, I mean, he's always putting stuff out. Good work.
Yeah, and he's got the new website as well, so check him out, 612tees.com. The link is in the description. All right, let's get into it. I love doing this before the first game of the season, a little bit of random stats. Let's get into it. The Wolves are 20-16 all-time in season openers. Pretty good. The Wolves are 3-2 in the last 5 seasons, although they have lost 2 in a row. Of course, I believe last year, wasn't it the Lakers they lost to game 1, which is ironic because we ended up ending their season in their last game. So on the road, too, in what was used to be Staples Center as well. But this is my favorite stat, Chris. And I love going back to look at this. The first episode we ever published doing the Running with the Timberwolves podcast, I went back and listened to a little bit. Got to be honest, I would recommend to listen to it for nostalgia, but it is a little rough, particularly in fact, we didn't even show our faces on it. We just put a banner that said our podcast logo, which looked rough as well, and then just threw it on YouTube. But anyway, the first podcast we ever did was published on January 2nd, 2021. And
Wow.
I know it's been almost, I think, close to 5 years. I think we're getting close to 5 years. But the Wolves record since then has been 214-181. They've been 23-25 in the playoffs. And overall playoffs, by the way, that includes play-in. I just included play-in and playoffs. Total record 237 and 206. Now, if you're the 80s Boston Celtics, that doesn't sound like much, but
Right.
for this franchise, that's not bad.
No coincidence, I'm sure.
No coincidence as at all, because I mean, I remember some of our first videos was like, hey, how are D'Lo and Cat going to work together? Or can Jordan McLaughlin be a contributor to this team? In fact, not to go too deep down the rabbit hole, but I will anyway. The first YouTube thumbnail that we have is Jordan McLaughlin. He is the first YouTube thumbnail. Look at me using search engine optimization to use a thumbnail, not of Anthony Edwards, not of Rubio, not of Cat, but of Jordan McLaughlin.
Exactly. Get those hits.
Absolutely. So let's get into it. I just want to get your overall thoughts. What did you see from the Wolves from preseason? Now, obviously, it's a little hard to tell here and there because, I mean, I actually went to the game last Monday where they played the Chinese team. And what do you take from that? I mean, let's be completely honest. Then obviously the 76ers game that was all backups. That game felt like a game that the Wolves used to have years ago, where you go into it knowing that you're undermatched and undermanned. Even if they were full strength, you knew like, okay, the Sixers have Embiid and Maxey. We have no one that can guard them or keep up with them. We may put up some numbers, but we're not going to take this home. But what have you seen overall that you've liked or disliked from the Wolves in preseason to wrap it up here?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's hard to really, lock into anything that's very monumental. But the couple of things that I've noticed was, to start out, Terrence Shannon Jr.'s reasons, that his ability to pass the ball, or not even ability, willingness, is huge. I mean, I've been saying from the beginning, he can't just drive. Like, he can't just be a guy who runs straight at the basket with his eyes closed. That's kind of what he did last year. Albeit, he was just thrown in there. Now he's got more of a role. He's got more responsibility. And if he can do that, I mean, that's a huge win for us. And, you did a video on it, Johnny Juzang, like him being, it could be fool's gold because he got hot for a couple games. I'm not sure, but if he can be a movement reliable shooter, there's value there. We don't have anyone on our roster other than glorified player coach, maybe my Australian man.
Ingles?
Yeah, Joey Ingles. So like, other than McDaniels, there's nobody that's like taller than 6'4" on a roster until you get to the big guys. So there's gonna be times when there's a 6'9", 6'10" wing that you're gonna need just a body that's a little bigger for. And I think that, Johnny Juzang might be able to help out in that role. So I mean, that's a fine. Adding anybody who can play a role is huge for a team that's made it to the Western Conference Finals. Even if this guy gives you 5 solid minutes in a playoff series, like, that's a win. And then one other thing I've noticed is Naz Reid looking more like a small forward out there offensively. Like, it was just in little bits, but I saw a lot of him coming off of like a down screen, catching the ball like off balance at the 3-point line and shooting it like he's a motion guard or a small forward. That sort of action is good to see, because we need that. If it's not coming from a wing, it's got to come from somebody. So I like that Naz is adding to his game. He looks slimmer. I was talking in a group that it wouldn't blow my mind that if Naz is going to be playing more of a small forward role, like, I know that they said they might stick him in the lineup that way, but he'll actually be playing small forward like offense. And maybe Jaden will be playing more of the big where he's setting the pick and rolling. I would love that.
Yeah, and you mentioned Johnny Juzang. Like you said, you can see the video that I made on this channel, just a little passion project thing. We're actually going to be trying to do more videos like that, kind of smaller and some bigger videos as well. But I got to be honest, I named the video like Steal of the Offseason. I'm not sure. That's a little bit clickbaity. Like I said, I don't think he's going to come in and play 30, 40 minutes a night, be a starter or anything. But I like you said, someone off the bench who can do a little shooting. And also, Coach Finch was actually talking about him. He said he played super well with the structure of our offense and competed on defense. And I've heard a lot of other people talk about this. I don't think Johnny Juzang with the Utah Jazz, particularly where the Utah Jazz are at right now, was really pushed to care on defense. I mean, he shot 37% from three. And like we mentioned, the 3-point shooting in the preseason, who knows? Some of it was against the long Lions and a washed up Frank Kaminsky. But if he can be a spark off the bench, that is going to be absolutely huge. And then, like I mentioned, Chris Finch also saw him competing on defense. So maybe his need to fit into the culture and fit in defensively as well also raises his game for on the offensive end of the ball as well, because he's got to fit in the culture. He's got to earn minutes. Let's be honest. Maybe he was trying to earn minutes on Utah, but it probably wasn't as hard. He was probably just given minutes because he was there and an available body with where Utah is right now. But no, that could be a huge win for the Wolves if he turns into anything. I mean, he's not costing us anything. He did earn his 2-way contract, but he's not costing us anything. Other things that I saw from preseason that I'll let you react to some of these. Yes, some of it was Johnny Juzang. I think our big guy, Baron J, looked pretty good. Yeah. I think he looked good. I think he looked pro ready. I know I was listening to the Locked On Wolves podcast with Ben Beacon, and he says that he looked really polished for someone who has only played basketball for 5 or 6 years. I mean, that he looked pretty impressive. I mean, in fact, the one play, I believe he stripped the ball from Joel Embiid and went down court for a breakaway slam. It's going to be interesting to see when and I'm not saying it's anytime soon, but when the Wolves feel comfortable enough to say, okay, now we can trade Rudy for assets. We have the guy in waiting. We have the guy. And I'm not even saying that that's going to happen this season, but that's what I liked what I see. Also, I also thought that Rob Dillingham, particularly towards the end of the preseason, looked better than he even did in Summer League. I really thought because here's what I saw out of Rob Dillingham. And I've made very, very clear that one of my worries with Rob Dillingham is finishing at the rim. And he still struggles with that. But what I did see was him playing, at least on offense, to his strengths a little bit more, rather than trying to get to the rim where he's very susceptible because he's so small. And he's used his quickness to get open mid-range shots, right? I saw a much smarter Dillingham, and he distributed the ball a little bit better as well. I thought he was in control. I think one of the games he had 9 assists and 1 turnover, which is, I mean, that's exactly what you want out of Rob Dillingham. Chris Finch talked about how he wants him to be more of a playmaker, get into the lane, and then create for other people from there. And I thought he looked good this preseason. I'm still not sold on him being our number 1 backup point guard, our number 1 option, but I mean, it's better than banking on Malcolm Brogdon and having him just retire anyway. So what'd you see out of Dilly in the preseason?
I loved him, to be honest with you. Obviously he has things that he has to work on, and it's not like he was scoring 40 points a game and he was amazing, but he was swinging the ball when he needed to. He wasn't doing too much. You wouldn't see him over dribble the ball. Everything looked almost like he was running the offense efficiently, and knowing that the ball might come back to him and then he can react. I like, if he's going to be a guy that's going to come in here and give us a little bit here and there, he's got to play within our system. You're not the star, kid. But you can be if the ball swings to you and there's a mismatch and he's attacked it. So if it's him, showing great connection with the young man, throwing oops to Juan Berenguer or whatever, Berenguer, you saw that with Rudy. He loves to toss in the ball. He adds a spark to our team at point guard that is a little bit more flair, a little bit more electricity, a little bit more speed. So I think it's great. Like you said, I don't know if he's going to be ready for prime time, 20 minutes a game,
Right.
but if you give me 10 minutes of a little bit something else, I'm happy for it. And you're talking about the big man. He looked great.
Yeah.
Like the things that he does at a quality, if not above quality, NBA center level. There's things he just doesn't do yet, and that's okay. I think the question for the Timberwolves is: are they going to keep him on their real roster and play him, in need here and there, or are you going to let him go down to Iowa and maybe spread his wings and try to add more to his game down there?
Yeah, that will be interesting to see what they decide to do on that one, because I'm of two minds of that. Because one, like we mentioned, he's only been playing basketball for like 6 years. It's kind of like a
Mhm.
Pascal Siakam, Joel Embiid situation. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he has the skills of Joel Embiid. He's a completely different player. But maybe you want to give him some grooming on a G League team where, on the other hand, maybe you need him, or maybe break glass in case of emergency.
I think
It's
he'd be useful on the big squad.
I tend to agree as well. Just another big guy off the bench, and I would not mind that at all. Keeping Berenger on the team, not on the Iowa Wolves, on the actual Wolves proper. I think I saw a the GM survey, and they asked him which rookie was the biggest steal that was selected in the draft. And number one was that Yakchonis from Miami, which you were actually big on.
Yeah.
Remember that big that big point guard, I think, from Illinois.
Yep.
And then tied for second was Ace Bailey and Carter Bryant. But then at fourth, it was Johan Berenger. So,
Which is impressive because that's a name that a lot of people don't hear. Like Ace
right.
Bailey, sure, you're gonna say him. The guy down in Miami, yeah, I mean it's Miami. Like they get some more press, but some guy in flyover country that's a foreigner that with no press and no love coming into the draft, like that's kind
Mhm.
of big for him to be on that list.
Right. And guess who was the biggest steal of the draft last year, tied with four different people, Terrence Shannon Jr. So,
Yeah.
I mean, a pretty good track record in terms of what the GMs think, at least. All right, so let's go to the question, which I labeled as basically the title card of this episode. Is this the deepest going into the season, at least? Now, granted, injuries can happen, people can get traded, things can happen. In your mind, going into the season, is this the deepest Wolves team we've ever had?
Let me think. I mean, all we added, yeah, I'd say probably. Yeah. I mean, we lost Nikhil from
Right.
last year's roster. So I mean, I'm looking strictly just from this year's to last year's. I mean, it's one of those 2 years. We're so deep. I mean, and I think part of that is just the NBA is super deep right now with talent. But I mean, we've got multiple Hall of Famers on this roster. We've got multiple all NBA All-Stars at different times of their career. And then we've got a young crop that's coming up, and we're having trouble finding minutes for some of these young guys. And I know
Yeah.
I've been cheering for Clark. I'm a big Clark guy. I mean, I don't know if he's going to find minutes. And he's like, in my opinion, he can cause impact the moment he's on the court. So
Oh, no
to have
question.
somebody like that not even be able to find rosters time for is an impressive thing for us.
I know it's such a problem that the Wolves have not had in the past, where
Right.
basically even last year, right? I mean, Finch using that 8-man rotation where he doesn't trust any of the young guys. I mean, he kind of threw in Dillingham here and there. I think he trusted Clark the most. Terrence Shannon probably had the most impact in the playoffs. But at the beginning, when we were struggling, it was like, where's this help coming from? Like, what's going to give here? And like you're mentioning, another year of, I know we keep talking about a continuity with Ant and Julius and Rudy. What's interesting with Rudy, and I kind of want to go this way with it, is I was listening to an interview with Chris Finch. They were talking to him after a Sunday practice, and he said the pendulum swings to Rudy to make the right decision when he gets the ball. Rudy needs to be more reliable, which is true. He does. He needs to make better decisions, but it is weird. Now, I know that Rudy's a unique player, but it is weird that a lot of the players and coaches talk about Rudy Gobert in the offense as if as he's someone who just got here like 5 minutes ago. Like, how do we incorporate Rudy in the offense? How do we use him? Guys, Rudy has been here 3 years and for 3 playoff runs. He's played over 150 games, probably maybe 200 games in a Timberwolves uniform. And I just wonder, I know that everything's a process, right? There's no concrete answer to a lot of questions in the NBA. But, I mean, shouldn't
we have it figured out?
Yeah, shouldn't we have it figured out by now? I mean, I don't know.
I think it's code word. I think when they're saying that, what they're really saying is we need to pass the ball as a team.
Right.
Rudy's not, you don't run a play for Rudy. Like for him for him to do something cool. Like that's not what you happen. Rudy's not a 3-year player that's just blossoming into his offensive potential.
Right.
He is what he is. He's going to catch the ball and he's going to dunk it. Like that's what he's going to have to, that's all he's going to do. So your role is to get him the ball where he can dunk it. That's it. So you got to move the ball around because he's not going to get to that spot on his own. And that's, you can say, well, he should be able to or whatever. He's not. Like he is what he is. You're not going to have Steph Curry be your, rim protector on defense either, because it's just not what they are. So the only way to get Rudy in the offense is for Ant to get off the ball early, which he has hated to do in the last couple of years.
And he's trying to do. It sounds like in his press, he's trying to do that.
And he knows it. I mean, anyone who's watched basketball in their life knows that you have to do that. You have to get the ball moving. Part of it is, they want Mike Conley to have the ball more to run the offense a little bit. A lot of that is to get the ball moving. Rudy scores on the 4th pass on offense, probably, or the 5th pass. If it never gets past the 2nd pass, Rudy's not going to score. So it's just a matter of ball movement. And I think it's code word for we need to be a better team passing, because he can really impact a game by being this gravity. When the ball's moving around, you can't leave Rudy because it's a dunk. I mean, he's led multiple years in alley-oop dunks, multiple years. He knows what to do around the rim. Toss it up to him.
He does. And I don't know if you saw this play from the Chicago game, but there was a play in the first half where Ant fakes a 3, drives baseline, kicks it to the corner, swing. Julius Randle penetrates, draws a defense, lob to Rudy, and it's a dunk. It was my favorite play I have seen in a long time. And I was watching and I'm like, that's how you use Rudy. That is how you use Rudy. Using Rudy is not chucking it to, like you mentioned, chucking it to him in bad spots and making him look vulnerable. Using Rudy is ball movement. And I think that's true. Now, maybe not the Lob City Clippers or whatever, but I think that's true with every team that plays kind of a half-court offense. You got to move the ball, you got to penetrate, and you got to pick your spots.
For certain players.
Right. And I've always said this, it should not be it should not be an emphasis for the team to try and get the ball to Rudy, get Rudy involved. It needs to come naturally. It needs to be something, like I said, in the flow of the offense. And how about this? If you're running the offense right on most games, some games, there's just a lot of guard play, but on most games, if you're running the offense right, well, then it should be no worries about it. Rudy should be involved just because he's part of the offense.
So now if you just replace the name Rudy and put the name Jaden in, it's kind of the same story. Like both of those guys are the type of players that they're not going to be successful if you get them the ball off one pass in the offense and let them go to work. That's not their game. Even like a quick shot isn't good for them. Like they're the kind of guys that if the ball's moving around and they're moving, that's when they can be aggressive. That's when they can use their crazy long athletic bodies, that they're an advantage just by how big they are and how athletic they are. They can really make plays at the rim. So for us to be a good team, we're going to have to move the ball around a lot, because we have guys on offense that's the only way that they can be dangerous.
Right. And actually, Anthony Edwards was asked about Jaden McDaniels. He said he's gotten a lot better at making better decisions with the ball in hand, which hopefully he was asked what he's done better this offseason. And then he said they need him to be a better facilitator, which I think is true as well. I mean, it just goes back into the whole thing where if everyone's facilitating, and this Rob as well, if everyone's running the offense, if everyone's doing what they're supposed to do, this team should have no issues on the offensive end. And he even should probably be, with their talent, should be a top 5 to 10 offense in the entire league.
Yeah.
I mean,
if we're playing right, there's no reason why we shouldn't be.
I agree. So let's go to Anthony Edwards. Obviously, like we mentioned every podcast, all of this centers around him. It really does. But let's talk about Anthony Edwards' mid-range game, because a lot has been made about Ant. He's going to be playing more mid-range, which is actually something we saw a lot more in preseason, more where he's posting up and trying to pick his spots on the post-up rather than with ball in hand. He said that it's not going to change my volume of threes. I will do it when the game slows down. Now, what I worry, and this is almost an interesting thought here, because we obviously Kobe, LeBron, they all have mid-range games, right? DeRozan, all these guys have solid mid-range games. I think that the only way, barring injury, that the Wolves get off to a slow start this season like they did last year is if Anthony Edwards' mid-range game takes a long time to adjust. Like, right, if we're getting the ball to Ant, and like we were mentioning, not running the offense, if we're getting the ball to Ant and everything slows down and he backs down, the defender does a turnaround jumper and misses it, and they get the rebound, that's what I worry. Now, I do think, because I have faith in Anthony Edwards, that he can get the mid-range game and the three-point game in cahoots, like get them into sorts where they don't hurt each other, they complement each other. But I almost think that his mid-range game, I feel like he's going to put out some feelers in the first couple games of the season, and I think it's going to take some adjustment for this team to adjust to Anthony Edwards taking more mid-range shots and more post-ups. I'm not saying it's a bad thing once we get it going down the line, but what do you think? Do you worry about that at all, or is Ant just going to be Ant with maybe a few post-ups?
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's more Ant will be Ant with a few post-ups at first. But if part of his mid-range game not taking away from his three is him maybe stopping halfway instead of bulldozing into the paint, and just stopping and hitting a mid-range that's open, because guys are playing them they'll force them off the line and then they play them at the rim. Well, if he's smart enough to stop mid-range and hit an open shot, opposed to he hasn't been amazing at the rim. Like, he doesn't get the calls he wants, and sometimes he's not finishing the way he wants. So if that's what it is, I'm cool with that. Like we were saying, if the ball is swinging around and he's cutting through and the ball hits him and it happens to be one of his spots and he just rises up and shoot it, I'm cool with that. If it's a 15, 16 dribble mid-range shot, get that out of here. Like, that's not what we want. So I definitely don't want somebody hunting the mid-range, because it's, statistically the worst shot you can take. So, like, don't hunt it. But if it shows up and you're open, yeah, take it.
Right, and I'm going to put up this banner of what he said here. He said, it's not going to change my volume of threes. I will do it when the game slows down, which that's fine, because in a long NBA game, in fact, this is what my dad always says when he goes to NBA games or watches them. He's like, oh, there's so many possessions. Like, for example, like NFL, a half, you probably get 3, 4, 5 possessions. NBA, hundreds over the course of a couple games. So, I mean, yes, there's going to be some possessions where, particularly early on in the season, where Ant is going to try like I'm talking like first quarter and stuff like that. They're going to get the ball to Ants. He's going to try to back down the defender. Everyone's going to stand still, and then he's going to take a turnaround jumper, and maybe he makes it 35% of the time. What we can't have happen is have that be a pattern. Ant needs to when that has a low success rate, he needs to be okay. That doesn't work. I need to adjust this. I need to go back to taking a three, because I'd rather him taking a hard three, like a difficult three, as much as coaches hate. At least me growing up playing basketball, coaches hate contested threes. I'd rather him do that than take a turnaround jumper that has about the same amount of percent chance of going in. So
well, and then you're under the basket, so you can't get back on defense. Yeah, I mean, a lot of that happens. But we will have some lineups out there of guys that aren't very aggressive offensively that he's going to be mixed in with. When I hope it's on the block, and I hope it's when he's got a littler guy on him. Because even if he gets the ball on the block, that's going to force the defense to adjust and to double him. And even if that's just a trick to get the ball moving and the defense scattered, I love it.
Yeah, I do as well. I mean, the more tools that Ant can add, the more weapons he can add to his arsenal, I am absolutely all for it. All I'm saying is there could be some growing pains here. And I think the Wolves may not have the luxury that they had last year of starting really slow and then catching fire. Because I do think that last year it was definitely about Julius and Dante coming back and them fitting into the offense. I do think if you look at that towards the end of the season last year, I do think, particularly down the stretch, our competition was not where it is this year, where we expect teams to end up. At least I do. Now, a lot of that, I mean, you can't go in the NBA. You can't go 17-4 in your last 21 by luck, right?
Right.
Like
of course.
maybe one or two games were lucky, but you can't do that well 100% by luck. Now, like I said, I don't think the games down the stretch are as easy. I mean, for example, what were the last two games? And I go back to this all the time that the Wolves had to win. It was on the road at Brooklyn where their coach, Jordi Fernandez, almost broke Ant's ankle. And then it was Utah at home.
Yeah.
It was Utah at home with Kyle Filipowski being their best player, who I like. I like Kyle Filipowski. But you can't be your best player or close to your best player to win a lot of games. So all I'm saying is, Anthony, I do think there's going to be some growing pains for Anthony Edwards with this mid-range game. But the good news is I think the team's good enough to overcome that. And I think Anthony Edwards himself is good enough to overcome that this season. So let's go one more place here. One more thing that I wanted to talk about. Let's talk about the Wolves kind of kicking off the season here. Like their first couple games, they start the season on Wednesday in Portland. What are you expecting out of that game?
We should get a win. Like Portland's an underdog. This is going to have to be one of those teams, talking about the Timberwolves, that we're going to have to beat teams we're supposed to beat.
Yes.
We're a professional team. We're a back-to-back Western Conference final team. The West is going to be a dogfight. You have to beat the teams that you're supposed to beat. The Blazers are one of those teams. So we're going to have to take care of business. I don't think the Blazers are completely devoid of talent, just like every NBA team. So you're going to have to play hard. But, yeah, you're going to have to come out firing.
I agree as well. No letdowns. And we know really the lowest part, a lot of people can debate, but the lowest part of our season last year was the back-to-back in Portland where we dropped two to them. And who was it? Not Grant Williams. Robert Williams was taking us to church. And just the big men were dominating. But, as long as Jeremy Grant doesn't go off, I think we should be okay in that one.
He went for 36 in a preseason game just a couple days ago.
Oh, so he cares? That's good.
Well, so far.
Good for him. And then, of course, big one against the Lakers. No LeBron on Friday I believe until mid-November, so it'll just be Luka. I believe Jared Vanderbilt is out as well. That'll be in LA. But what I don't like, 2 late starts to start the season. Not a big
Yeah,
fan of that.
get used to it, man. They really put the screws to us. I mean, we had playoff games that were home that were starting at 9:30 Central Time.
Right.
Uh, I mean, it's just if you're an NBA fan and you're in Minnesota, expect late nights.
Yeah, I agree as well. What do you see in that Laker game? I mean, I guess we know how to stop Luka now.
We got to
Maybe
beat them. I mean, again, if we don't
um
have
obviously I mean,
no, I mean, I think all that's right. We've got to beat this team if they don't have LeBron and Vanderbilt's giving Edwards trouble. Like we have to beat them. So let's do it.
yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how much DeAndre Ayton factors in because they do have a big man now. That was a big problem in the playoff series. We'll see if that makes much of an effect going out of the gate. Of course, no LeBron. And then Sunday, the home opener, a nice Sunday 6 p.m. game against the Indiana Pacers. The Indiana Pacers do not take them lightly. We saw what they did last year at Target Center, the Obi Toppin game, as a lot of people call it. We saw what they did last year. They're a scrappy team. They still have Pascal Siakam. They still have Nemhard. They still have a lot of guys. They still have Mathurin. They have a lot of guys who can compete and just who have experience in the playoffs now. Rick Carlisle. I mean, he in the preseason game against us, he got a technical. So he's going to be all systems go. I think he's the perfect coach for that team. But that said, like you're mentioning, you got to get the win at home. You got to do it. You got to set the tone.
Too. Those teams are hard that are just work hard teams. Like they're always going to work hard. They're going to, they know they're the underdog and they're kind of like that. So yeah, it's going to be, none of these games are giveaways.
Right. And let's end it off with the announcement today. We knew they are coming. I believe they are out to buy right now, and we'll let us know in the comments, in the YouTube or Spotify comments, are you a bigger fan of the Trees jerseys or are you a bigger fan of the Prince purple jerseys? I think I know where the vote's going to go, but still let us know. Honestly, I know you probably hate the purple ones, but I love these.
I think those are clean right there. I don't dislike these jerseys.
Okay.
Especially if they're a one-off type thing. I don't know if I'd want them as my standard, but I like a one-off.
Having a jersey for every single game where you're honoring a dead pop star, no matter how much he meant to the city of Minneapolis, wearing a dead pop star's inspired jerseys every single game is a little much. In fact, shout out to my dad. He does not like Prince at all. It's nothing against him personally. He just does not like the music at all. So he every time there's like a Prince game at the Twins game, or they're celebrating Prince, or they're showing the Purple Rain at a midnight screening, he's like, really? Anyway, by the way, one more shout out I want to do as well, and this goes back to the preseason, what we noticed from the preseason. Shout out to my friend Zach, who I played basketball with in high school. He pointed this out to me when we were at the Long Lions game. Rocco Zaccardi, slow. He's very slow. He lumbers up and down the court, and I don't know about him. We'll see. Maybe he'll get a sea legs, but looks very slow.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to move 7'3".
Right, I agree. But he was slow on some rotations. But the good news is I'm very high on Midrange, not as high on Rocco Zaccardi. Anyway, Chris, thanks so much for being here.
Hey, man, I'm excited. Let's get this kicked off with 3 straight wins.
The dream of the 90s is alive in Portland. Anyway, this is the Running with the Timberwolves podcast on the Believe Sports Network. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. Give us a 5-star rating on Spotify and or Apple. And most importantly, it's the best way that you can help out the show. Check out 612tees.com. Use promo code RUN25. I know on the banner there. It says run 25%. It's just run 25 to get 25% off your first order. That's run 25. Or you can use the link in the description as well. When you click on it, it'll take you to the website, and to check out, it'll automatically apply the promo code. Enjoy Wolves basketball on Wednesday nights. We'll try to put a post-game podcast maybe for one of the games this week, most likely the Friday game, because honestly I work early in the morning, and doing a post-game pod that late is a little difficult on the West Coast, but maybe we'll try to do one on Friday night. And as always, go Wolves.